From Paul Tassi this morning, Destiny 2 skyrocketing numbers are more than just a finale surge. Destiny 2 is about to achieve something significant. Its final update is about to have over 100,000 concurrent Steam players for 2 weeks straight, a feat we have not seen in over 2 years. And not even with any of the seasonal expansion launches since the final shape itself. Even then, the drop-off was steeper. Many are observing this phenomenon from the outside saying, well, of course the numbers are good. It's the last update of the game. Though at this point, it seems pretty clear it's more than that. Keep in mind, this is a new Destiny 2 edition that is not even close to an expansion. It's not even a season launch. There is a single new exotic mission, and the rest of it is loot updates and progression changes. Sure, the final update factor is there, but the main observable thing here is that Bungie fixed the game right at the last possible moment. How? Breadth of activities. A key here was making almost every activity in the game worth playing again. When the Edge of Fate hit and the portal launched with this new tiered gear system, 80% of the game didn't even have it. Many things like old raids and dungeons were giving out old gear. Now every raid and dungeon was updated with relevant loot in a single release, and Bungie went so far as to even update things like the Shadowkeep era Altars of Sorrow. It's wild. I think I have found just a single activity that hasn't been updated, Dares of Eternity. Past that, almost everything is worth playing and has at least a few things to pursue. Yeah, everything being updated, turns out, gives everyone a shit ton of replayability. I think right now, guys, you will have months and months of content if your goal is to farm up gear sets across all these different activities. There's just so much to go for. I also want to just bring up the fact that Bungie had that bundle where they bundled all of the DLCs, everything into one bundle for like $25 the first week that this dropped, contributed to this. And dude, I'm gonna just say this, Bungie, you need to keep that bundle around. Like, that should not just be a one-off bundle. You need to keep that shit around. Allow people to just get into the game. Loot tiers. This was mostly fixed as well. Yes, everyone still wants tier 5 everything, but this update brought the ability to upgrade a lot of old loot to be the equivalent of tier 5. And in addition to that, no longer made lower tiers utterly worthless, given the ability to upgrade them as well. But with 6 perk options and some shiny versions, baseline tier 5s are still worth pursuing as well. This final form update works. So even if you get a god roll, like I had a god roll tier 4, you can now upgrade it to tier 5. And of course, a natural tier 5 drop, or even a shiny, a hollow foil, is the most prestigious drop of that given item. It still allows anyone that's getting gear to feel like they're making, meaningful gains on their way to getting to tier 5s. Why is Destiny better now? Destiny is better now simply because you can play anything in the game. You can be rewarded for it, which means there's a lot more variety in the game. And the way the game was designed last year when the portal first dropped, it was like Bungie saying, you play what we want you to play, and that's it. Oh, and guess what? Your gear's going to be essentially worthless for the first 400 levels. Now, the portal. Well, they're not calling it that anymore, that's for sure. The menu has been returned to the director, and what was the portal is just a streamlined way to play activities and farm loot, erasing much of the complicated math of letter tiers and gear hunting. The seasonal page remains in place with the bounty and order system, and that was never really an issue. The organization of the game is leagues better than it was when Edge of Fate launched. I would say even further than that, guys. I would say that the organization of the game is better than it's ever been. You see, in the world of the destination tab, a veteran Destiny player knows where to go. We're like, hey, I want to go do Vow the Disciple. Let me click this. Let me come over here. Let me click Vow the Disciple. But if you're a new player, you're like, where? What? However, we have these beautiful tabs down here. Look familiar? D1, baby. Now, D1 didn't quite have it like this, but D1 did have a great way of consolidating things. And this actually took it a step further. You click that, boom, raids and dungeons. I think I'm going to do Vow of the Disciple. I don't have to go search for this on a given destination. I can just click it and go. But wait, I want tier 5s. What's the featured raids this week? King's Fall, Garden of Salvation. This consolidation, guys. This is what we envisioned. This is what we wanted. We didn't want it to we didn't want this menu to replace everything in the game. We wanted this to be part of the directory, and it allows people to go and find the activity they want to do and go from there. This drop down menu, the fact that this is so clean. This is Destiny. This is the way it was supposed to be, boys. Power level, no more climb, at least not one that matters. Power was slowly being erased before this, but now almost everything is a set delta, meaning a lot less FOMO for lapsed players who do not have to do some annoying grind to catch up. Hell, you can play most activities with your old gear at 10 power. Builds. The unleashing of the set of artifacts, plus the addition of armor sets, has made this the most expansive build crafting that the game has experienced in its lifespan. Just in time for there to be no content to play, of course. This also inadvertently fixed the annoying champion situation where, with no dedicated seasonal artifact mods, every gun now has some sort of champion assignment, making that long-running system less annoying and better able to blend with Banes. Let me just say Banes are fantastic. Look, guys, when you go to your weapons right now, disregard my trip. When you go to your weapons, look at this. Intrinsic unstoppable. Intrinsic barrier. Notice that each one of these weapons by archetype have intrinsic champion capabilities, which means your artifact mods here are not bloated down with all these anti-champion mods. It allows you to have all these different artifact mods to choose from that are actually cool fucking artifact mods. And the fact that you have access to so many artifact mods, you have 7 here. The reason why this system is so good is because it adds so much variety. It says, hey, you can choose whatever you want, whatever synergy. You're not going to be locked to just Arc because your artifact mods is just for Arc or just Void. You can choose whatever you want and build upon it. And there's levels of lethality across the board for all types of builds. It just requires you to build it out. This system is so good that if Destiny was to kick up updates right now, you cannot return us to a single artifact per season. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. We're never getting an update in Destiny again, so I'm just bullshitting at this point. More than being some grand finale, players are playing Destiny 2 right now and sticking with it because the game is fun. More fun than it's been in years. And that's with 95% of what we're playing here being often lamented recycled contents. A key here was generosity. All this work to give out all this relevant loot, and on top of that, a bunch of earned cosmetics that would have been shoved into Eververse. Yes, this is a fire all the guns update, which took some things from future releases, but imagine if Destiny had its own development team back rather than a third of what it once was. This current setup combined with actual substantive new content, the game would be healthy. Not just that, guys. Imagine if Destiny was just run with a common sense approach. Bungie, I love you guys, but somewhere along the way, whether this was because of Sony or old leadership, but everything just moved away from earning goodwill from your community. Everything became, what is the return on this? You know what nets you more money than anything? A fucking happy community. Go look at Digital Extremes. Look at Warframe. When you have a happy community, they will make you rich. And the problem is for too long, everything that ever got pushed into Destiny seemed to just be small pieces of what we wanted. And it was because it was being held back. Because at the top level, at the leadership level, everything had to have a price tag associated with it. The whole philosophy, beware of over delivery, really fucked you here. Really fucked you. They obviously needed money. Well, here's the thing about that. If someone sits down and looks at the damn dropout menu of everything they have to buy in Destiny individually, that immediately turns them off. They walk away. They don't even get invested. They don't even play. So you go, they need money. Well, it's better to get some money than no money. And that's why the bundle here recently was so successful. And here's the thing. With that some money comes someone that becomes embedded in your game. And then down the road, they'll buy other things. They may become so appreciative, they buy some silver. They pick up some items from the Eververse store. Things like that. The other side of things is too, guys, it's like live games depend on players. Depends on people actively playing their game. And there's just been too many systems within Destiny that has turned people off or pushed people away from ever thinking about investing into this universe. It's too late. The decision is made. The layoffs are coming. I've heard nothing about any sort of decision reversal despite these numbers, despite player sentiment. Players, of course, continue to grumble about Marathon, a game that will now become Bungie's main focus, which has declined since launch and now has a 10% of Destiny's players after this update. It's not just sad that Destiny is ending, it's sad that it's ending with the game in its best state in years, but nothing else coming to take advantage of it. These numbers will not hold forever, of course. Declines are inevitable, but when you simply stop making content for a live game, it will eventually disintegrate, but it deserved better. Bungie could have pulled it off with more time and more resources, or at least shown what they could have done for a Destiny 3. Lessons learned. And the sad part about this is like lessons learned, but for whom and for what? Look, guys, I've talked to people in the industry. I've talked to developers that are high up the ladder at other studios. And let me just tell you, even they say what's happening here with Destiny makes no logical sense. There are times where IPs will need to reinvent themselves and you'll have to dig deep and reinvest. every one of them have said that Destiny is an IP, that it's crazy to even imagine Destiny not being a game in this space anymore. Look, I don't know what's happening internally at Bungie. At least from what Paul's saying and what everyone keeps saying, layoffs are still coming. But I'll continue to say it. Bungie, Sony, anyone in any position of leadership, you're fucking up, man. You're fucking up bad. And look, I also wanted to say this. I'm not hating on Marathon when I say this, but Marathon has an impossible task right now of sustaining Bungie. How in the fuck is Marathon supposed to carry Bungie? And this is not me throwing shade at Marathon, but it is an impossible task for Marathon. There is a world in which Marathon and Destiny would have coexisted. But Marathon being the breadwinner, the sole game, the game to carry Bungie going forward into the future, my God, why? That's a terrible strategy. It's an impossible win. Marathon was never meant to solely carry Bungie, but that's what they're trying to do right now. That's what they're going to do. They are going to position Marathon, and they're going to sink who knows how much money into trying to overhaul Marathon and essentially pull off a Forsaken. It's not the same, guys. Destiny 2 Forsaken, Destiny 1 Taken King. Those expansions were successful because they were recall plays. They recalled players that already played the game when those games first launched. They didn't just come out of nowhere. The problem with Marathon is there's no recall because it never truly made the dent that it was supposed to make at launch. Guys, Destiny was successful right out the gates, but it gained its footing with the Taken King. But right out the gates, Destiny within its first 24 hours or whatever made $500 million. Marathon has never had that type of splash. Now, this is not me talking shit about Marathon. The point I'm trying to make is that the internal strategy for Marathon is Bungie is going to try to pull the Forsaken with Marathon. And I just don't see it working. I don't see it having that type of recall. And then on top of that, even if Marathon was to drop its 1 year content drop next year, and it was going to have a full-blown suite of PvE. They essentially injected Destiny into Marathon. You're still going to have a bunch of pissed off Destiny players that are still mad that you killed their game. You see what I'm saying?
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.